I never thought that this would be something that I would be facing since growing up in the US. I mean, we're going to elementary school and middle school and high school, and they're always telling us, you don't do this. You might get pregnant. Don't touch something with sperm on it. You're going to get pregnant or something.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, they're always just telling us like, oh my gosh, the second you know, kiss someone, you're gonna get pregnant. It's just like, okay. So my entire adult life, or most of my adult life, I was really just actively trying to avoid getting pregnant. And I remember just kind of going through this process of trying to figure out how I was going to navigate this. And it all started really when I was 27, and I wasn't having too much luck with relationships. And I was getting a little scared. 27, which now looking back, now that I'm 34, I look back and I was like, what's 27?
Totally. Yeah.
Like, why was everybody like, just everybody's freaking out because they're 27? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I should go and freeze my eggs. So I go on this journey of trying to freeze my eggs when I'm 27. And the fertility doctor tells me that I'm basically like a horrible candidate for this. She says I have low egg count. I'm practically infertile. Like, I'm just like a broken woman, basically. That's how I felt, right? That she didn't say that, but that's how I felt, because as a woman, we feel like, okay, well, that's the one thing other than our chromosomes that distinguish us as women. We should be able to give birth and carry a baby and give life, right? And I couldn't do it. And it was just this basically a rude awakening of, wait, so you're saying this whole time I was not able to get pregnant that easily? And so I don't end up freezing my eggs. It failed. And then I just had to kind of come to terms with it. I was meditating on it, and I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I just can't have a baby. And well, of course, months, maybe 6 months later, I meet my husband. He wasn't my husband right away, but he becomes my husband later. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And we start trying. And it's been now 6 years.
Wow.
And I've never accidentally gotten pregnant. Never even had a pregnancy scare. The closest I might have gotten was being like a day late on my period. My period's just coming on the dot every single month. I don't have irregular periods. And so it's been 6 years of unexplained infertility. And I finally just give up, because everybody around me there's all this social pressure, and everybody's asking left and right. You know, we got married, and then, of course, immediately at the wedding, even people are asking, like, so when are kids coming? When are kids coming? When are kids coming? I'm like, oh, I don't know, because we were trying even before we got married. And so we get married, people all around us are getting married, and then immediately getting pregnant. And I'm just like, wait, so I'm not the only one. I mean, I am the only one that is not getting pregnant. Not only not right away, but just not getting pregnant at all. So finally, earlier this year's 2023. So right in January, I guess, you know, new year, new me or whatever. And up until this point, I want to preface this with, I've been a very holistic, kind of a hippie person. I haven't even taken a Tylenol in over 10 years, almost 15 years. I just don't do synthetic medication at all. And so January comes and I'm like, you know what, screw it. Let's just do it. Go for it. Let's do IVF. And, you know, there are a lot of different tests that lead up to the process itself. And there were so many tests that I decided to not do one last one, which was the SIS. And that's the saline one where they check if your fallopian tubes are open, and they make sure that there are no polyps or anything wrong with your uterine lining. And I decided, I was like, there's nothing wrong with my there's nothing wrong with that. There's having unexplained infertility. Just start the process. So we start the thing, and I'm going in there drawing blood. We're injecting every day. I posted a few things about setting up my injection IVF injections, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
Going from no Tylenol, no prescription or over-the-counter drugs, to straight up just shooting IVF hormones into myself every day, going through the surgery to take out the eggs and doing the ICSI, fertilizing. And I decided to opt for minimal IVF, and my clinic did that, where we had the option to do less, but I still got plenty of eggs. And 2 cycles later, we have 8 frozen embryos. Technically 9, but 8 that we can use.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we have quite a few embryos. And of course, right before the transfer cycle, I had to do that SIS.
Yeah. Did not want to do it.
I was like, no, now we have to do it, because if I don't do that, that embryo, the embryo we choose might not stick. So I do the SIS and find out that this whole time I had infertility because I had polyps.
That's a lot stupid.
So, and at that point, now I am going through this whole mental process of, I just went through 2 rounds of IVF, probably unnecessarily. So now we do the surgery to remove the polyps. So I'm polyp free now. So I should be able to conceive naturally.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. But now we have 8 embryos, and then I didn't know that the transfer cycle had even more drugs. There were even more shots. And that was the point where I was like, you know what, I've had enough. I've had enough. I didn't this is just too much. And so what I did instead was apply to Columbia Business School and decided to get my degree instead.
Looking for a support buddy? Join our social media pages to meet and make new friends. Thank you so much for stopping by the Infertility Club. Wherever you are at in your journey, don't forget, you got this.